Would you consider expanding the parking area and introducing paid parking as a means to generate more income?
I firmly believe that should have been done years ago, and I would support that. It's not a lot of money, because let me give you a good example. When I started the John D. Memorial Race, I cut a little gallon bucket and I put on it donations towards John D. Race, $1 EC. People put in $5, so everything adds up. So even if it's $1 parking, if people are going away and then leave their car at the airport for a month, you have like a standard fee. Okay, you pay $5 a month. Anybody else for the day pay $1 or $2 or whatever. And I think it will help when it comes to that. And all that grass that we have there for a big lawn, that's useless. You can't park on the grass. You go to the airport and it's real busy. There's no parking. So we need to expand on the parking and charge some little fee, something to help. Every dollar counts.
Thank you, Mr. Gomes. My next question is with reference to members of your party. Sometimes controversial, always outspoken. What do you most admire about your party leader, Mr. Hughes? You have 1 minute within which you should answer this question.
That's probably a tough question, but I think people may consider he's controversial, but most times I think he's outspoken, and sometimes people really can't stand to deal with the truth. So I think he's more outspoken than controversial.
Your answer dovetailed well into the next follow-up question. It reads, which is a greater quality for a leader, to speak his or her mind or to be diplomatic?
As a leader? Well, it depends on the situation. At times you have to be diplomatic. Sometimes if you just go and speak your mind, you won't get anything done. But you have to know how to deal with the situation. So I think at times you really have to make the decision when it comes down to that. You have to be diplomatic, because sometimes you can speak your mind, but you get carried away and you say the wrong thing, and then they hold you to what you say. So it's good to be diplomatic.
Thank you so much. Your next question will be presented by Ms. Michelle Romney, one of the students on our panel.
Mr. Gomes, you'll have 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer this question. It has been said that Anguilla's politicians share a similar political ideology. If you disagree with this, what is the main difference between the Anguilla United Movement and the other political parties?
Thank you very much, Mr. Romney. I disagree. Our party, in comparison to I'm not gonna try to be knock on a specific party, because they were not elected, so I have to knock on the government because they were elected, and we've seen what they have done. But when it comes to the present administration, there's a complete difference. The present administration, they have looked out for the elite for too many years, and the poor have been suffering. I heard the government minister say, we've made millionaires out of this country. We've made people millionaires in this country. But when you look at it, those millionaires were made at the cost of the poor. And when it comes to the Anguilla United Movement, everyone will have their fair share of the cake. It's not the rich and leave out the poor. The poor will have to rise and be at the same level with the rich. We're not gonna stop the rich from making money, but we're gonna open opportunities for the poor to make it to the top also.
Mr. Gomes, what is your position on the introduction of a minimum wage, and should it be across the board or different depending on the area of employment? I repeat the question. What is your position on the introduction of a minimum wage, and should it be across the board or different depending on the area of employment? You have 1 minute, 30 seconds.
I firmly support the minimum wage. There have been people working at the hotel industry for years. It took a lady 10 years to get $1 raise. That was 10 cents a year. That's totally unaccepted as it relates to my position. And I don't feel it should be across the board. I think it should be in the positions that you're at, because if you go in the hotel industry, those at the top, they make big money and they still get the service charge. But the maids, they don't make much. The gardeners, they don't make much, but those at the offices, they make a lot of big dollars in comparison to the underpaid workers. So I don't think it should be across the board. I think we should look out for those who are hurting. If you're not hurting, then you don't need help, you don't need attention.
Thank you, Mr. Gomes. Your next question will be presented by another one of our students, Mr. Neil Gomes.
Mr. Gomes, as you know, many Anguillians are out of work. Some say it's that way across the world. Others say it was poor economic management on the government's part. What would you have done differently in terms of managing Anguilla's economy? You have 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Thank you very much, sir. The major problem that we have, the tourism industry, that's our main industry. But I firmly believe that construction is a big breadwinner for the people of this country. The government made some terrible mistakes when they brought in the Indians and the Chinese. And I did a little calculation. At 750 Indians in Anguilla living at the project, and they have been paid $1,000 a month, and they've been sending that money back to India. They're not shopping at our stores. They buy a soda and they share it. And that would be $750,000 that leave our country monthly. And if you do that by 12, you're talking about $8 million or $7 million that leaves our country monthly. So I can blame the government when it comes to that. If we had done it the other way around, include Anguillians, bring in the Caribbean nationals to work, they would rent our apartments and they would keep the economy going. I think the government messed up when it comes to that real bad, and they're the ones who killed the economy. I guess any government, they want to blame someone for something. When September 11 struck, the government blamed September 11. Now the world economy turned bad, they blame the world economy. But other countries are surviving. But we made some bad errors that cannot be corrected. And if we go back down that road, it's going to be goodbye for Anguilla. But that's why I think they made the biggest mistake, and I would not settle for foreign cheap labor that's not going to put money back into our country. We need the economy where the money goes around and comes back around. It goes in a circle, it comes back around.